Hey there, comic friends, I'm Travis. It's time for an edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my world of comics. How's it going, everybody? Doing pretty good. I didn't get my comics, last week's comics, until Monday. I am reading them right now. Don't know if I'll squeeze out any videos talking about those books this week or not, just because it's already Wednesday. I've got a couple days to get them read and do that review before my next books come. Hopefully on Friday. Hopefully there's no hang up, because once again, Comic Book Roundtable is going to be on Friday night instead of Saturday. Friday night, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern time for this Friday, and actually for the Friday of July 17th also. I've got other things going on Saturday nights, both those weeks, so gotta move it to Friday. It's that or no show at all. Which was thrown out as an idea. People seem more interested in having a show on just a different day than not having a show at all. So it'll be Friday, unless I don't get my books. If I don't get my books, probably want to see a show at all. So we'll see. Last week's show was a little different, even though I didn't have my books. We just had a lot to talk about with all those titles being announced. So so there's plenty to talk about without the books. I'm sure there's probably going to be a chunk to talk about anyway. San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend, so tons of news is already pouring out from all of that. No way for me to keep track of all of it, or I have no intention of it, because that would be a full-time job right now to keep track of that information. I'll sort through it and sift through it after it is all said and done, and maybe I'll talk about the stuff that interests me then, as far as that goes. But some announcements that do kind of interest me. DC announced through USA Today that next year, I think, they're going to do 6 or 8 more miniseries, looking at some characters they want to explore. Some of them are written by the original writers and original creators. Swamp Thing, gonna be written by Len Wein. Firestorm, it's going to be written by Jerry Conway. Those guys are co-creators on the books. There's going to be a Raven book that's going to be written by Marv Wolfman, clearly a co-creator along with George Perez on that one. Along with some other, for some newer creators, I believe there is, there's going to be a Poison Ivy book. There's going to be a Metamorpho book. There's another one or two I'm missing. I don't remember what they are. Anyway, it should be some interesting stuff. I'm actually kind of looking forward to some of those books. A bit nervous too. When you bring back creators that have created these characters, and they created them 20 plus or more years ago, are they going to do something that captures now? Because what was then, which was all cool, you got. I'm almost positive you have to level some level of modern sensibility to the characters, to the story, or it's going to dip way too far into nostalgia and not attract a new audience. It's just going to pander solely to the old audience. I think the idea is to get both in there. Dan Didio has said that this is kind of a, fleshing out and bringing more characters into the DCU, and to explore what other kinds of books they can write. Meaning basically that, hey, there's a chance if one of these books is really a hot seller and is doing really well, that it will just become, that it can become an ongoing, that they could do more with those characters if they're well liked. So clearly, if you're in the mind to like one of these characters, or you already like them and you don't care who's writing them, I know there's a lot of Poison Ivy fans out there that just don't care what she's in. It's just more Poison Ivy, the better. Buy the books, because sales are what's going to drive what continues and what doesn't continue, as far as that kind of stuff goes. I'm gonna check them out. Most of those I'm somewhat interested in. So yeah, so that's gonna be some cool stuff. Excited by that. We're starting to hear more information about some more details around all those Marvel books that were announced, getting some idea of where they're at and what's going on with them. The one that I noticed the most and I've actually read up on is, of course, the new Daredevil. Interesting how they've changed some stuff with Charles Soule writing it and Garney on art. Of course, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, is going back to New York, going back to Hell's Kitchen. His secret identity is not known now. That's changed from the last run, where people kind of knew who he was, and he was disbarred, basically, from practicing law in New York. That will not be the case. He is able to practice law in New York, and as a matter of fact, he is going to be a prosecuting attorney, which is a radical change from the character, in my opinion. Matt Murdock has always been a public defender. Now he is going to be a prosecutor. Charles Soule feels like this is more appropriate and matches more in line with the person and isn't in conflict. Whereas he kind of feels like being a public defender and then fighting criminals, that's like a conflict of interest. Whereas if he's a prosecuting attorney and then a superhero on top of that, that the two are more in harmony with each other, and that does make a certain amount of sense. And we've learned who that character is. We saw in the splash image cover or whatever it is that we saw for talking about the book, that it is a young Asian man who is lived pretty much his entire life in the United States, but is not a United States citizen. So we're gonna get to explore some of that aspects of immigration and that sort of stuff, which is all, well, I think could be really fascinating, really interesting storylines. So I'm actually really excited for Daredevil now. I'm looking forward to starting out reading Daredevil again. I always really liked the character, really liked him back in the 80s and whatnot, and just kind of fell away from him and could never seem to really connect with the Daredevil that's been coming out recently. So looking forward to getting on the ground floor of a new telling of a potentially new type of Daredevil. So excited for that. Looking forward to that experience. So, and hopefully we'll get some more information about some of these other books as they're coming along. Because that's just the one that caught my eye, and one of the books I'm planning on getting. So it's kind of what I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I'm kind of excited to see what's going on at Emerald City Comic. Not Emerald City Comic Con. Holy cows! With San Diego Comic Con. I know never what happens is like the first days of the con, like Friday, I'm paying attention to everything, trying to keep track of it all, and then by the end of the weekend, I'm probably like the people who went to the thing. I'm worn out, and I just can't keep up with it all, so I don't even try at that point. And then I just kind of weed through it later on, which is my plan. But anyway, Comic Book Roundtable once again is this Friday. I will be in a race to read my comics. I can get my comics around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'll have a race for 6.5 hours, 7 hours to get. I think I'm getting 19 books, I think, this week. So it'll be interesting to see how many I get read. Probably not all of them, but I'll get some fun ones read to talk about. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to go because I still got comics to read, and maybe I'll get them read in time to actually talk about some of them. Have a great one, everybody, and hopefully I'll see you on the weekend. Bye.